Hey guys, welcome to another recap of The Amazing Race. In fact, it's the finale of The Amazing Race. Finally. Last week, Michael and Louie were cut. They bit the dust. This week, it's the finale, like I just said. It's down to Jet and Coit, Dan and Jordan, and Brent and Caite. So they were in Shanghai, China, and they got the clue to fly to San Francisco, California. So they're going to be meeting up in Battery Goddfrey for the next clue, which is right at the foot, practically, of the San Francisco Bay Bridge there. And Jordan ended up cutting the cowboys in line at the airport, which was so uncool because I just don't like cheaters. All right, so everybody ended up on the same flight, but Jan and Jordan weaseled their way into first class, so they were the first ones to get off the plane. So the next clue asked them to solve a riddle, which leads you to Coit Tower. And if you watch The Bachelor, you know that they had dinner on top of the Coit Tower, and it's gorgeous. So when they got there, Jet and Cord figured it out right away because they saw it in a book that they had picked up in China, I guess, when they were waiting in the airport. Caite was a total bitch to her cab driver. But once they got to Coit Tower, they had to climb it to get the next clue. And they, which was the Roadblock. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place because it's just like, the race is over. All right, so Brent and Caite fell pretty far behind because they had a pretty bad cab driver. And like I said, she was a real bitch to him. And I would have just been like, get out of my cab. But he was very patient with them. I'm surprised. And Brent was trying to keep some order, but Caite, she's a feisty little pistol. So the next clue said, find the Yoda fountain, which just happens to be in front of Lucasfilms. And then when you get there, you get to enter the world of industrial light and magic. Ah, yes, please. So when you get there, you have to put on a special suit, and the other person on the team has to guide you through a virtual world. It looked awesome. I would love to do something like that. Well, Jordan was all excited because he got to put on a suit covered in balls in San Francisco. Fabulous! He really did enjoy it. And when they got there, you know, Jet and Cord, they might forgive, but they don't forget. They remember that they were cut in line at the airport. So Cord started screwing with Dan's head. He was shouting out these directions. He wasn't even hooked up to the headset yet. It was pretty genius. Because I don't consider that cheating. I consider that strategy. Cutting in line, I consider cheating. Alright, so he actually told Dan that he's going to get a Star Wars guy to take him out. Oh my gravy. Come on, it's a race. That kind of stuff is okay. Cutting is not cool. Brent and Caite, though, they actually made up some time because I guess Brent was pretty quick climbing the tower, so they ended up being at the Industrial Light and Magic the same time that the cowboys were. So the next clue leads them to the Tonga room. I'm a fob. Yeah, it's a Polynesian bar downtown, and there was a trunk for them to take to their next destination, and they had to figure out that it was the Great American Music Hall, which was like the funkadelic world of psychedelic music back in the 60s and 70s. So they're going to flash back to the age of Aquarius. Inside the trunk was all these posters with former team members representing legs of the race, and there was some 3 non-elimination posters in there too, representing the non-elimination legs. You say that fast 10 times. So Dan and Jordan, I got to hand it to them. They thought ahead of time. He wrote down all of the eliminations because there's always a memory challenge in The Amazing Race at the end. So they busted through that. But once they finished it, they were really having a hard time trying to find the taxi cab. So the final pit stop of the race was at Candlestick Park. And it was a neck-and-neck race between Dan and Jordan and Jet and Cord. And yes, I don't know if it was exactly going down that way, but that's how the edit went down. So they wanted you to believe it was neck and neck. I'm not so sure it was. Everybody was waiting as usual, clapping on, Dan and Jordan won. They came in first. I still have a bad feeling about, they didn't really run a clean race because of that at the airport, but They got the $1 million, so if it's good enough for the Amazing Race, it's good enough for me. And then Jet and Coit arrived next. And you know what? They can hold their heads high because I don't think they did anything that they shouldn't be proud of. But when Brent and Caite came into the stadium, the lesbians were a little bit bitter. That's an understatement. And they showed their true colors. Even Cyndi Lauper would be like upset with them. There was this whole shouting match between the lesbians and Brent and Caite, and it was just really ugly. And they really did look like a bunch of jerks. And it's sad that the Amazing Race ended on that note, but whatever. Congratulations, Dan and Jordan. You won the race. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Till then, much love.